'Tis strange, but true, for truth is always strange. Stranger than fiction, if it could be told. How much would stories gain by this exchange? How differently the world would men behold. The saying, "Truth is stranger than fiction," is often quoted by Lord Byron from his 1823 poem, Don Juan. Also, Mark Twain is reported to have said, "Truth is stranger than fiction, but it is because fiction is obliged to stick to possibilities. The truth isn't." In 1858, Josiah Henson, a Maryland-born slave, wrote an autobiography entitled Truth, Stranger Than Fiction. Mr. Henson was supposedly the real-life Uncle Tom in Uncle Tom's Cabin. Perhaps we can deduce from this that Mr. Twain was simply passing on, rather than passing off, a simple truism. Could you tell the difference between the truth, or a perceived event, that others worked hard to label as fiction, or as the product of an overworked imagination? Really, you think so, do you? Pray, then, dear heart, listen on. Do you believe in ghosts? Whether you believe or not is really of little consequence to what may or may not be imagined or even real. Our minds are strange, powerful places. So powerful, in fact, that we have little or no control over their disposition and functionality. That notwithstanding, the overwhelming consensus of science is that ghosts do not exist. Their existence is supposedly impossible, and ghost hunting has been classified as pseudoscience, the pursuit of the simple-minded and the uneducated. Despite centuries of investigation, there is no scientific evidence that any location is inhabited by spirits of the dead. In folklore, a ghost, or an apparition, a haunt, a phantom, a poltergeist, a spectre, a spirit, a spook, and even a wraith, are supposed to be the souls or spirits of dead persons or animals that we can feel, or even see. In ghost lore, descriptions of ghosts vary widely from an invisible presence to translucent or imperceptibly semi-realistic, lifelike visions. The deliberate attempt to contact the spirit of a deceased person is known as necromancy, or sometimes a séance. The belief in the existence of an afterlife, as well as manifestations of the spirits of the dead, are widespread. Certain religious practices, funeral rites, exorcisms, and some practices of spiritualism and ritual magic, are specifically designed to rest the spirits of the dead. Ghosts are generally described as solitary, human-like essences, though stories of ghostly armies and the ghosts of animals rather than humans are many. Ghosts are believed to haunt particular locations, objects, or people they were associated with in life. Notions of the transcendent, supernatural, or numinous, usually involving entities like ghosts, demons, or deities, are widespread. Some people believe the ghost, spirit, or revenant never leaves Earth until there is no one left to remember the one who died. Magical banishment of the dead is present in many of the world's burial customs. Although the human soul was sometimes symbolically or literally depicted in ancient cultures as birds or other animals, it appears to have been widely held that the soul was an exact reproduction of the body, even down to clothing the person wore. This is depicted in artwork from various ancient cultures, including such works as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which shows deceased people in the afterlife appearing much as they did before death, including the style of dress, While deceased ancestors are universally regarded as venerable, and often believed to have a continued presence in some form of afterlife, the spirit of a deceased person, or ghost, that persists in the material world is regarded as an unnatural or undesirable state of affairs. And the idea of ghosts or revenants is associated with a reaction of fear. This is universally the case in pre-modern folk cultures. But fear of ghosts also remains an integral aspect of the modern ghost story. Gothic horror and other horror stories dealing with the supernatural really can induce dread. And, in some circumstances, even outright spine-chilling, hair-whitening, heart-stopping, abject terror. Another widespread belief concerning ghosts is that they are composed of a misty, airy, or subtle material. Anthropologists link this idea to early beliefs that ghosts were the person within the person, or the person's spirit, most noticeable in ancient cultures as a person's breath, which upon exhaling in colder climates appears visibly as a white mist. This belief may have also fostered the metaphorical meaning of breath in certain languages, such as the Latin spiritus and the Greek pneuma, which by analogy became extended to mean the soul. In the Bible, God is depicted as synthesizing Adam as a living soul from the dust of the earth and the breath of God. In many traditional accounts, ghosts were often thought to be deceased people looking for vengeance, or imprisoned on earth for bad things they did during life. The appearance of a ghost has often been regarded as an omen or portent of death. Seeing one's own ghostly double or fetch is a related omen of death. White ladies were reported to appear in many rural areas, and supposed to have died tragically or suffered trauma in life. White lady legends are found around the world. Common to many of them is the theme of losing or being betrayed by a husband or fiancé. They are often associated with an individual family line or regarded as a harbinger of death. A place where ghosts are reported is described as haunted, and often seen as being inhabited by spirits of the deceased, who may have been former residents or were familiar with the property. Supernatural activity inside homes or structures is said to be mainly associated with violent or tragic events, sometime in the building's past, such as murder, accidental death, or suicide. But not all hauntings are at a place of a violent death, or even on violent grounds. Many cultures and religions believe the essence of a being, such as the soul, continues to exist. Some religious views argue that the spirits of those who have died have not yet passed over, but are trapped inside the property, where their memories and temporal energies, either good or bad, are the most strongest.